So what we see out there, of course, is we had Scottson left on the front. We'll be able to bring more down. We're going to crash down there. BMC rider is down on the ground. Now that's holding up the progression. 3 other riders have been held up by that incident there. Now he's taken a hard hit to the ground too. He's gone in head first on.
Schneider, the younger one. Oh, lost his foot. I'll tell you what. Oh, well, how unfortunate there. But Miller will punch to the line.
Welcome to the video How to Race Crits. This is How to Race Crits 101. It's the technical crit. Here we have a big talent field. This is probably the hardest crit in Australia. I don't know of a harder crit in Australia. You got this much talent in one crit, and it's a crit where you can't just sit on. You got like crits like Glenvale, Victoria Park, such like that, fast crits. But this one you can't sit on. This one you got to actually go to fitness. You got Timber on the front. You got the big dogs in this race. You got some big dogs in this race. It's very technical. Sort of stop, start, sharp corners. It's a pure fitness crit. It's a fitness crit. You can't sit on this one. You got to really work for it. And look at the oh, there we go. So you got to have like razor sharp handling, and these guys can take a lap out. They can take a lap out. Where you crash is where you start from. So they're allowed to take a lap out and speed you into the race. So you got to have just onto it. You'll be onto it. And you sort of see different riders. Somewhere in the drops. There's almost another crash then. Some are in the drops. Some are in the tops. It's personal preference. It's personal preference. For me, I like being in the drops. I like being in the drops and an easy gear out of the corner. You've got to have the correct line around the corner, and if you pedal too soon, you're going to hit your pedal, inside pedal. So you can see there is a difference in bike handling skills even amongst these guys, and very, very smooth. It's a very smooth line between staying upright and crashing. So you can sort of see that some riders pedal through that corner. It depends on the frame geometry as well. The bike depends on their cleat setup. Depends on what shoe size they got. Whether or not how much they can pedal through that corner, and it depends on what pedal design they got. If you got mountain bike pedals, you can pedal through the corner a bit better. So the crits, you got to be focused. You got to really be always eyes at the road, focused. You got to have that ability to really suffer for 1 hour. Especially these crits. This is a real crit. The average crit you can sort of sit on and be, non-animated, but this crit down at Glenelg, this is the hardest crit in Australia. You have to really be an animator, and if you're not animating up the front, then you're going to get left behind because there's no bunch sprint in this one. This is just strongman race, strong woman race. This is whoever's the fittest is going to be getting it done. So here we have an early break with Cameron Bailey and Jay McCarthy, and they stayed away the whole race. They lapped the field. So they worked together really well from what we could see. And I'm just standing on this corner, and you can just see the angles and there's a fatigue built up in some riders. You can just see the differences in there in cornering ability. Cornering isn't my forte, but accelerating is out of the corners. So Miles Scottson very smooth in the corner. Same with Howson, and it saves a lot of energy. If you're smooth around corners, you're going to save a lot of energy, but still you need to have the fitness to be up there. Look at that, just smooth, isn't it? Smooth. So the standout riders for me is most of them, but in that yellow-green jersey, Miles Scottson just takes that corner very, very smooth, and so does, look at that, just, he loves that corner. So being on the front helps a lot. You want to be on the front in the corners, that way you can take your line, and you don't have to touch the brakes as much. If you're last man, or last rider, you always have to touch the brakes typically through the corner, because other people might touch it, and then you have that little, so that positioning there, you always see Miles, the green-yellow guy, on the front in that bunch pretty much. He's always in the front, so he just, for whatever reason he's doing that, it's good positioning there. It's good positioning. Same with the green helmet rider there, Jay McCarthy. We've got another little move here by Damon Howson. So Scottson again is on the front, the green and yellow jersey on the front. So it's all about positioning, knowing where in the bunch you want to be, at the right time, and over time you learn how to position yourself in the bunch, which is definitely a massive skill in itself. It's not the fittest person wins in bike racing. In a running race, the fittest person wins. In bike racing, it's a lot of luck and it's a lot of positioning. If you're not positioned well, then see you later, because you're going to use so much energy. So you can just see what's happening here. Maybe a flat tire, or I'm not sure it's going to get back on. If you drop the wheel, it's game over pretty much. So they've caught riders. They've let riders. Oh, excuse me. But you can see some patterns forming, can't you? You can see that there was, just see some patterns forming here with these riders. So Housen again on the front, and these guys are trying to get back on the back, but there was a few there was a teammate in this bunch that couldn't really get up the front again, so they had to wait, had to ride tactically, and it's a definitely a fitness course. So you just got to watch that inside pedal, make sure your pedal's up, otherwise you're going to hit it on the ground. And what else can I say? With these crits? But you just basically got to look where you want to go. And off the brakes, basically. No brakes. Less you touch your brakes in the crit, the faster you're going to go. I mean, that sounds pretty obvious, but like, if you touch the brakes, then you're wasting energy. I mean, sure, there's times when you need to touch the brakes, but the rider who least touches the brakes and exerts least effort is going to be doing really, really good. So take the right race line, practice corners. You're going to have some crashes. If you're not crashing in a crit, you're not really going hard enough. Even Jay McCarthy there, he in second place, he crashed on one of the corners, and he went on to win the race. So if you're not crashing in a crit, you're not really going hard enough. Or if people around you aren't crashing, then the pace is not really that hot. So it's that's pretty much how to be a good crit rider is basically just be willing to crash. If you're willing to crash, you're going to be a pretty good crit rider, and that's where I sort of suffered. Is I've lost that willingness to smash my face into the tarmac. But I know all these riders that they don't really care if they crash. I mean, they want to avoid it, but they're not scared of crashing, and that's what makes them standout riders. They're willing to get fucked up, to get put in hospital, to win a bike race, and that's what it takes. You got to have that, just don't give a fuck attitude. And see, he goes, Jay McCarthy wins that in front of Cameron Bailey. Good effort by both riders. Just stayed away for maybe 40 minutes or whatever it was. It was a big effort, and you can see there the battle scars. So he crashed and took a lap out, just to make sure his bike was alright, and then he re-entered the race and went on to win. So that's his family there, and some fans, some support. So that's always good when you take some time out for the fans after the race, even if you're knackered. Just that's good for there you go. It's a handshake as well. So that's just good to do that. More professional sports people need to do that. So that's the new Tarmac SL, and nice bike. I like the looks like a 52 centimeter frame set. And so this is Dan at Glenelg, and that is Damon Housen's Scott 4. That's a big seat post, isn't it? That's a lot of seat posts hanging out there. You can sort of see it's been moved up a little bit, a little wide out pen. Quite an aggressive setup, but obviously working well. And so there you go. You got any questions about crits? Basically, you got to be willing to crash. You got to be willing to practice the corners, and you got to be willing to suffer. But most of all, you have to be willing to crash. If you're not willing to crash in a crit, then don't do crits. Pretty much, stick with running races like me. There you go. Any questions about crits? Let us know down below. See ya.